Oh, hi. I'm David Marskell, and I was just thinking how much I miss Chinese food. Got a little bored, then started thinking about a project that I will always be proud of, where I helped reconnect the Asian community with the Toronto and Southwestern Ontario community at the tail end of SARS. It was a story about my time at Ontario Place, and let me take a few moments just to share that with you. I had taken a step sideways in my career, and I was working the marketing department of Ontario Place. Ontario Place had shrunk. It had become a water park, closed at 5 o'clock in the summer, and there was nothing there in the winter at all. And each morning I would go into work and look out the window and see a very barren island airport. My office was just off to the right, and I'd look across the water from Ontario Place and see this very, very barren area, and cold and frigid and empty. And one particular Monday, I had brought the New York Times from Sunday and the Globe and Mail from Saturday, and I was going to read them before my day started in that lunch. And in both cases, they had images of something that had just opened in New York City. And it was called The Gates. And the Gates were created by Christo and his partner Jean-Claude. And they were saffron-colored fabric that went for miles through Central Park in New York City. I think there was almost 8,000 of the Gates. You can see the images here of what I saw. And when I looked at the barren Ontario Place property, I thought, that's what we need. Something really great, really big to rejuvenate and bring and make Ontario Place relevant. Jean-Claude and his wife, you can see them here. Jean-Claude passed away. Sorry, it was Christo and his wife, Jean-Claude. She passed away in 2009. But here they are. You can see images of them here. This took place in the winter of 2005, and they began working on it in 1975. They started to do up these sketches, and they're well known for doing very large scale works of art. So it occurred to me that as SARS was winding down in Toronto, and that there was an unfortunate situation that people weren't going to Chinatown, and SARS had created this separation of the general population from the Chinese population, what could I do to help bring something major to Toronto to reconnect these communities? When I saw the Gates, I thought that's the size and scale, and I started to do research. I ultimately met a man, a professor from China, and he and I instantly became friends, and he and his family I see several times a year still. We worked on this. We ended up bringing what was called the Rogers Chinese Lantern Festival to Toronto, to the shores of Ontario Place, where it went from mid-July to the full moon in October. It was actually extended because it was so successful. There was over 200,000 people came to visit it. And it breathed life into Ontario Place when normally we would close. It was a huge success. And those 200,000 plus people paid over $25 to come in. So it was huge financial success as well. Here's a quick video of it. One of the dragons was made out of plates, china plates. 1,000 plates made up the scales of the dragon that was at the entrance. "100 workmen came from China, and they crafted this by hand. It was incredible. The Heavenly Temple was over 110 feet tall, made out of silk and fabric. It truly was an amazing sight and really sparkled on the shores of Lake Ontario on the West Island of Ontario Place at night. So I think you get the idea of the magnitude of it, and it was pretty amazing. Rogers was quick to sponsor, and they connected with the young adult market in the Asian community who were looking for cell phones and so on. It was a huge win for everybody. And I remember the Deputy Minister of Tourism was very, very pleased at what I had spearheaded for our organization. I continued with my relationship with the person who from China, and his company, having brought this to Canada for the first time to North America, this Lantern Festival, ended up becoming the largest in the world and began touring these all over North America and all over the world. And as a return favor, he helped me bring the rock carvings of Dazhu to Kitchener and the museum. And the rock carvings of Dazhu are truly, truly incredible, and go back to the several dynasties back. You can see Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing, Chengdu, all of these cities I was fortunate enough to visit. Got myself a hat. And just outside of Chongqing, about an hour and a half car ride, is Dazhu, where you would see these carvings carved into the side of cliffs. Incredible images and so on. So fortunately, we were able to negotiate and ship these rock carvings, and the ones that had been damaged or had been moved over time, over the hundreds of years, to preserve them, are the ones that we were able to bring. We brought them and put them on display in the museum, and it was really wonderful to see young and old come face to face with something so ancient. It was one of my favorite shows that we ever had at the museum in downtown Kitchener. So I just wanted to share that with you. It was a wonderful time at the being able to connect with the Chinese community and to showcase that culture with our local community, and at my time at Ontario Place to do the same with the Toronto visitor. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for David's board. Thanks.